Thank you so much for that wonderful rendition. As per the program, our first item is Josephine Moshobane. In 1985, during school holidays, Josephine went with her friend, Malibona, whose father was in exile in Botswana for a visit in Botswana. Their trip to Botswana ushered the dawn of trouble with the police. The young girls could have not figured that they were under police watch. Their trip raised suspicions that they could be going to complete a mission as underground forces. So, as the university recess had come to an end, Josephine went home to prepare for her return to Teflop, right here. On a particular Sunday in April 1985, her home was raided under suspicion that she could be an agent and had brought guns. The police did not really know her face and asked for her identity. She then told them that she was Dorothy and had not seen Josephine. The police pointed a gun at her father to reveal where Josephine was, and he bowed to the pressure and she was arrested. I will stop there for now with some of the excerpts that I'm reading to the audience. So as we can see, colleagues, today it's a day that we are commemorating, we are remembering, and we are honoring, and we are saying Aluta Continua. As per the title of today's public lecture, it says Aluta Continua, advancing the ideological baton of the revolutionary feminist. And just to repeat what we were saying at the candle lighting session, that we want to remember Josephine as one of the women and a young lady at the age of 24 who unfortunately lost her life in those days. So to move on with our program, we are going to have a musical item by the UL choristas. Then that item will be followed by the purpose of the day by Dr. Muchaki Masipa, Dean of Student Affairs, University of Limpopo. Over to you, our choir.
I don't know whether it's master or mistress of ceremonies. The Honorable, our beloved Dr. Poppy Ramathuba, the Premier of the province. The Honorable Makoma Makurupeje from the legislature. Mr. Lloyd Ngavu, South African Construction Award. Professor Xiao Shun, is it Queen or Chin? Oh, okay. Dr. Levi Mutebejani. Oh, I forgot to indicate that Xiao Shun Chin is the chairperson of the China African Women Youth Association. Oh, but I thought it would be a woman, so it's a male. Dr. Levi Litebelana, Partnership and Public Relations in Revealed World University. Revealed World University. Mr. Alpheus Matlou, South African Gallery of Legends. Mr. Vusi Maluleke, University of Limpopo alumni. Thomas Mujela, South African Gallery of Legends. Tien van der Merwe, South African Gallery of Legends. Miss Shimieto Makubele, Miss South Africa finalist. Dr. Cuthbert Ncube, African tourism. The reason I started by greeting these visitors is because I was afraid that I was not going to be able to pronounce some of the names. Before I get fired from the University of Limpopo, I would like to also honor the Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University, Professor Mahalo, the two DVCs, Professor Madaje and Professor Singh, the Executive Deans of Faculty, the Directors, admin and academic colleagues, the SRC President, the 24,000 students of the University of Limpopo, the viewers, as it is the live streamed to everybody that can view our ceremony, and of course, the Moshobane family. Mani Moshobane, I've seen you. I have seen Maripa and family. I've seen Bo Ausi Gracie and the other sister, Trifina. I've seen the cousins of the Moshobane and all the grandchildren. I've observed all of you. I've seen all of you. My is to try and explain to those people who don't know about the purpose of this ceremony, to indicate to them what we are going to be doing this morning. And good morning to all of you. Good morning. Thank you. Before I actually say what I'm going to say, I'm going to ask your permission to call Trifina to the stage. What is it, 1975? And when they said at candlelight who was here when it happened, I know Khomeswana was not there, he could have stood up also. Can Trifina just very briefly come up and then explain a few things that happened during those times before I actually go into the purpose? Trifina is Josephine Moshobane's cousin. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, Dean. I want to start by greeting everyone, the Vice Chancellor, all the Dean, all the staff of the TEFLOP, everyone who made this occasion to be possible. I greet you. I also want to greet the Premier, Dr. Poppy Ramathuba, and I thank everyone for talking here. Yes, I was here in 1985. I actually had applied to go to Medunsa, but Medunsa was delaying to reply me. And my sister, Josephine Moshobane, called me. Arungwana wa malume. My father was malume ko ena nane ke re ko mama ha ira khadi. Arungwana wa malume, come to TEFLOP now. Re tlo apply. It was during those times when there was no online application. So we could easily come and do self-application, everything went well, and then I was admitted in 1985. And during that year, she was the one who introduced me, taught me everything about the politics, and she indicated why she wanted me to come to TEFLOP, because she knew. She told me, you know, in Medunsa, there's a lot of zim-zim. The older ones will know. It's like that. And then she
already at Tiro Hall, but we felt maybe there's something that, you know, like this, I don't know what you call them, what do you call them? These pictures, I don't know what you call them. We thought perhaps we could. Statues, yes. Sorry, pardon my English. The statues, maybe we could put up statues and find out if we cannot have those names registered forever in this university. At the same time, I just wanted to say to our visitors that we have two residences just next to where we were at candlelight. There are two residences. Part of the residences is called Tiro and the other one is called Moshobane. It was to really mainly commemorate those two people. And I keep on saying this, perhaps the VCs here today, I can try my luck to say that even though those two people died for the struggle, those residences are not a very good reflection of those two heroes that died for our university. So I'm hoping that even when some of us are gone, there will be residences that will be built in the names of Tiro and Moshobane. They always go together. One thing that I like is last year we had the Tiro people here coming to celebrate Moshobane and the Moshobane people celebrating Tiro, which is sort of like making up a family. So we're here today for that celebration. We're here because this is historic. It's something that can never die. The university must keep on remembering the two people. Josephine, you have heard about Josephine, who actually was very active politically here in the university. It is a pity that her friends are not here. It was a group of them during the presidentship of Mr. Mahlangu. I think Mr. Mahlangu was our president then. So this is what we are trying to do here. We are trying to make sure that going forward with the history of the university, we make sure that we keep the legendary people's names known to anybody that comes to the university. We will continue to write and build up things that will make sure for people to remember Josephine and to remember Tiro. I'm sorry that I'm also already talking about Tiro. We always talk about those two people together, because those people, whether people like it or not, their activism in the university is what led to their deaths. So I'm going to be very brief about that, but I'm happy that the cousin, we just felt some people don't know what happened. Perhaps we can just ask her to talk about it. There'll probably be some photos here. We went with the marketing and communication looking for the family. It took us some time to get the family of Josephine Moshobane, just to try and get the history. We were very lucky to find the family, and at that time the mother was still alive. They gave us all the information. The brother is here. And then of course we are going to be documenting as much as we can about the hero that was, the hero Josephine Moshobane. Madam, thank you very much. I just want to say to everybody, settle. Please feel welcome, celebrate with us. Annually, it's something that goes on and on and on. Celebrate with us here. Please feel relaxed in the university and join us in the celebration. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Masipa, and thank you so much to the cousin. That was a very lived experience that she gave to us, and we thank you for that. Moving on, we have got a musical item, and I like it because Dr. Masipa has already mentioned that we have got Moshobane Tiro choristas. They are going to give us a rendition, and immediately after that, we're going to get a tribute by Mr. Kuto Mamabolo, the SRC president. Over to the choir.
Long live the spirit of Josephine Moshobane, long live. Long live the spirit of Josephine Moshobane, long live. Long live the spirit of Josephine Moshobane, long live. Long live the spirit of Josephine Moshobane. Long live. Thank you very much. Let us first start by acknowledging the presence of the Vice Chancellor of the University of Limpopo, Professor Matlo Mokhalong, the Premier of the Province of Limpopo, the Honorable Dr. Popira Matuba, the Speaker of Limpopo Legislature, distinguished guests, the students who are present here, and most importantly for today, the family of Mama Josephine Moshobane. I would say all protocol observed. Now, in most instances, when you are accorded the opportunity of speaking about someone that you know very little of, your first line is to go and make research. And I would acknowledge that I was very disappointed that there is very little that is written about Mama Josephine Moshobane. There is very little information that you can find about someone who fought so hard and paid the ultimate price. Not to say that there's nothing written at all, but there's very little that has been written about her. And we're extremely happy and delighted that the University of Limpopo is one of the few institutions, rightfully so of course because she was associated with us, that decided that this cannot be the case anymore. We are here for the third lecture, speaking of the spirit and the gains that she has made and her life and the role that she has played in the politics of Teflop. Because the University of Limpopo said that this is one of the people that you must be able to commemorate each and every year. For that, we're extremely appreciative. What we can say and what we have found is no different from what you've been told before by other speakers who spoke before me. But one thing that stood out for us is the fact that Mama Josephine Moshobane, young as she was, she stood out in a sphere that is dominated by males. Politics is ordinarily dominated by males. And when you are able to stand out in a sphere dominated by males, it means that there's something extraordinary about you. There was something special about her, something extraordinary about her. Given that I see that most of the people who are here are young people, and of course young people would ordinarily relate with that film called Sarafina. Let's just visit that film called Sarafina. You saw what the apartheid regime did to Sarafina in that film. They took her, they tortured her. And one of the reasons why she was tortured is because they sought for information. They wanted more information to understand what is going on, to possibly get more names of the people who were working with Sarafina. Of course, she resisted. And that should automatically translate to the case of Mama Josephine Moshobane. That one tortured because the information that they wanted to exert from her, they could not get it. And the only way they could maybe perhaps feel like they have won against her was to torture her. And we know what that led to. There was a speaker who spoke here and said that when they visited the home, she did not reveal her true identity. But because the life of the father was under threat, there was no other option but to reveal that indeed this is Josephine Moshobane. Let us revisit that particular history. Let us apply it in our own lives and continue with the struggle. Much as we are not oppressed as we were in the days of the apartheid regime, there are still persisting challenges that young people face today. We still have high levels of inequality. There are still disparities back to see it. And Mama Josephine Moshobane, as she fought, would have liked to see more females ascending to the stage. We are happy of Limpopo. That is something that surely will make Mama Josephine Moshobane happy where she is. We are saying this is where you must draw inspiration and say that through politics and through whatever field that you are in, never feel like you are undermined. Never allow yourself to be undermined. You must always remember that there are great women who came before you, and that is exactly what we must do. Perhaps some of the characters that you must be able to highlight from a struggle stalwart like Mama Josephine Moshobane is that she was highly dedicated to education. They told you here that she was part of the student activists in those days, and there were organizations that she belonged to. I think one is Azaso, and the other one I just forgot the name. but she was part of organizations within the institution, organizations that sought to ensure that at least the life of a black person is in a much better space in the days of apartheid. That is what we must be able to do. We need more female activists. We need to realize equality between men and women. The reason why they say it's a Duke Day today is simply because she was characterized to see at least men wearing dukes.
Amongst the friends, Josephine was subjected to excruciating, inhumane conditions. She was confined in a small dark room with chains on her hands and legs, limiting her movement. She experienced severe beating and was only allowed to sleep for 1 hour, fed only once per day. So that was the situation in prison for Josephine. Moving on, we are going to have a poem by Miss Sipati Gift Apane, a performing arts poet. Immediately after that, we'll have a tribute by Miss Yvette Mbali Moshobane, who is a family representative. Over to the poet. All right, it looks like the poet is not here. Then we move on to Miss Yvette Mbali Moshobane.
Greetings to the House at large with all protocols observed. My name is Yvette Mbali Moshobane, the daughter of Mariba Moshobane and Busi Moshobane. It is with deep humanity and immense pride that I stand here before you today as we gather to honor the memory of my beloved aunt, Josephine Moshobane, a brave and determined freedom fighter who dedicated her life to the struggle against apartheid. As we observe Women's Day month, it is fitting that we remember her, a woman whose courage and sacrifice have left an indelible mark on our history. My aunt was not just a member of our family, she was a beacon of hope and resilience for all who knew her. Born into the time of great turmoil and injustice, she refused to accept the status quo. Instead, she chose to fight, to stand up against the oppressive system that sought to strip her and millions of others against their dignity and freedom. As a student of the University of Limpopo, she was more than just an academic. She was a leader, a voice of the voiceless, a tireless advocate of justice. Her time at this university was not just about education. It was about awakening the realities of apartheid and taking a stand. It is here that she forged the relationships, built the networks, and gained the knowledge that would fuel her activism. Her activism came to a great personal cost. Arrested for her involvement in the struggle, she endured unimaginable suffering. The injuries she sustained while in prison ultimately led to her untimely passing. But even in her darkest hours, she remained steadfast and in commitment to the cause. Her spirit was unbreakable, her resolve unwavering. Yet, despite the sacrifice and the sacrifices of so many others, our family, and indeed our nation still seeks closure. We submitted a memorandum to the government demanding answers, seeking justice for her death. But to this day, we have received nothing but silence. It is disheartening that the very government that our beloved ones fought for to liberate has failed to honor the memories and provide the justice they richly deserve. My aunt's story is not just one of pain and sacrifice, it is one of triumph. Her legacy lives on in the freedoms we enjoy today, in the progress we have made as a nation, and in the ongoing fight for justice and equality. She is a reminder that the struggle for freedom is not over, and that we must continue to fight for a better future for all. As we gather here today, let us remember her not only as a victim of apartheid, but as a hero who gave her life to the freedom of others. Let us draw strength from her courage and be inspired by the example to continue the work she started. To the University of Limpopo, thank you for recognizing her contribution to our nation's history. To all of you here today, thank you for honoring her memory. And to my aunt, though you are no longer with us, your spirit lives in our hearts, in our actions, and in the freedom we cherish today. May her soul rest in peace, and may her legacy continue to inspire generations to come. With that being said, I'd like to thank you.
Thank you so much, Yvette. Item number 8 is a musical item, Moshobane Tiro Choristas, which will be followed by Ms. Kuto Senyatsi, the chairperson of University of Limpopo Women's Academic Solidarity Association, ULASA in short, over to the choir.
To greet first the Vice Chancellor of the University of Limpopo, We call him Paula Patla, the man who makes it happen. Our mother, Dr. Popira Matupa, I'm very happy to address the Premier today, or to talk in front of the Premier, because it's historical. The first one in Limpopo. She's leading several tribes, so you must imagine how strong and wise she is for her to be here. I would also like to greet the DVCs of Research and Teaching and Learning, Professor Madaje and Professor Jessica Singh, the Deans, Hunadi, and Professor Deborah Mutiba, and the speakers, Dr. Reverend, MC, the visitors of the university and the friends, I may not call all your names, and the family of Moshobane, our mother, whom we are celebrating today. We cry, we smile, and we dance. In 1986, it was all tears. As the years went on, we saw value in what she did for us. My name is Kujo Sinyati, and mine today is to talk about women at the university through the footprints of Me Josephine Moshobane. Back in the day, she was fighting for race-based segregation with her peers. And her death only signifies that if she wasn't as resilient, we wouldn't be here. So today, as I talk about women within the institution through her footprints, I'll also relate the qualities that she displayed and that started a revolution that later on, when we moved from apartheid, influenced policy into inclusion. I'm sure back in the day, certain individuals could afford to study further on. The group of women that are within the university, from student level to staff members, share with her the same resilience that she had. And if she were to sit with us today, I will tell her, we thank you for making it possible that the young students access higher education to influence the conversation that we are having currently. The choices, we have women who are professors in science currently, and they are leading departments because of how she fought for that equality. Her resilience is not only something that benefited her and those who were in the same cause with her. It influenced the change of institutions. Those who remember the history, we were from the University of the North. We are currently University of Limpopo. This change in itself came with the change in the curriculum. She was fighting that we don't get breadcrumbs of what is education. We are currently getting quality education that enables the women within the institution to be in management positions, the women who enter as students to take part in the SRC as leaders, and to be respected within those positions that they occupy. The young students, women, they lead in classrooms as class reps. They lead in the SRC. They lead in associations. Therefore, in her fight for justice and equality, we can never move away from the role that associations play in bringing about change. As a chairperson of the University of Limpopo, the women that I'm leading studied here and other institutions within the country. And what they resemble from Ma'am Josephine is their drive for change. They are supervisors, they are HODs, they are deans, they are DVCs, and in that, they do not stop the fight towards equality, because policy does exist, but at some stage, it needs to be followed into implementation. So the drive for change also lead these women to take supervision positions within departments. We have women who are driven to bring change in research, to decolonize the research in this institution. And in that regard, we have around a membership of around 100 students who are doing their postgraduate studies, females only. We're not looking at the other males, females only, who are together sitting, reading and writing their research, progressing in postgraduate studies. And in this regard, when you think of ULWASA, you look at Hunadi, Prof. Mutiba, the DVC of Research, Professor Jessica Singh, and the others. They took the same journey that Josephine took to say, we want to see this change. Even though she might have lost her life because of the change she wanted, she influenced these other leaders who came after her to say, if we want change, we will get change. So they started an association that brought change into how women access postgraduate studies. If you look at the University of Limpopo graduations, you will see a number of young women, and all of them progressing. What I do like about it is this university gives the same women an opportunity to work for the university. I've seen ever since I became chairperson, every year there's a cohort of young women who are employed as junior lecturers, and soon, a year or two later, they are lecturers, soon they are professors. I'll give an example. Within the committee we have Professor Manyelo, for example. When she started, she was about to complete her PhD. She's currently a professor and an acting HOD. So what Mama did for us is highly valued and recognized. The loss is now celebrated as a lesson that stay the course. Cause trouble, let it follow you through to the right course, no matter what it is. For as long as what you are doing is beneficial to the masses, there will be change. If it wasn't for her, we would not be sitting here rejoicing over having female deans. I'm sure they would have been told, no, you need to be a teacher and stay a teacher. Be a nurse, stay a nurse. But because of this revolution that she has brought in her leadership and her young life that she dedicated to bring change to South African women, we do have a great change, and leaders they are not only in front, their opinions are valid. When they speak, they are listened to. ULWASA started with maybe 7 of them. We're currently at around 200 membership. And at a certain stage, the Vice Chancellor himself started paying for writing retreats where we sit and focus on writing our postgraduate studies. And then we get mentors to help us mentor in, they help us with mentorship in research, career-wise, in academia, the whole development as we want. Maybe when Ma'am Josephine was fighting, she was just looking at having more students in, fighting the type of curriculum that they were being taught, fighting all the restrictions. But what she did, she opened spaces for so many young women to flourish, not only in academia, but to have the courage to take up space in private institutions, private companies, and so forth, and not even be afraid to own their truth. Because you cannot move from a legacy that did not allow a certain race, certain privileges, to having female leaders who are not carrying a certain level of burden. I'm sure if they would tell us, they will tell us there are people who still believe that a woman's place is in the kitchen or a lower career or could not earn more. And in the fight towards this exclusion currently, we commit ourselves to showing the same resilience that she did, to stay in the cause and to saying academic solidarity in our time. We shall be the group of women and generations that come after us who are educated and then who fight towards the right cause. In our day, we may not be taken to jail, to be tortured, But women leaders, they will tell you that as they are leaders within certain professions, they are choked up in such a way that resignation is the next exit. But I'm saying she died for us. Let us continue to fight, resist the temptation to play small. She didn't. For people to take you, and it's men, I believe, white men to take you in a solitary confinement for 3 months, she wasn't playing small. And in this regard, to honor her legacy, we should not play small. We should take up space. We should be resilient in the things that we want. Let's fight systems. I've asked the family for her seredo, and I will tell you why I did that. It says, Datse Ramolata, Mutabatsindi, Irin Tlapo, Iritlapo ka tipa mokgakga, Silumi se tlhapa ka jwala thabeng. Silumi, I believe, is something that buys, right? You can see she was born for it. It's in all of us to take up this legacy. Be there at the top of the mountain. And I believe certain types of alcohols were banned during apartheid. She went into that apartheid mountain and bathed with that alcohol and said, come for me. I'll stay the course. There's also a line that I like about here. It says, Kinsora subuka musina tsebe, kisina mutsi ki ahwa. Hohwa, those who don't speak Sepedi means death. So it means what she decided to do, it will end in death. And it did, but a good death, very painful at the time. The type of death that questions all of us to say, what are we doing with our lives, especially as youngsters? Where do we find ourselves contributing to the growth of women, to the growth of the Black society, or even those who were marginalized previously? In everything that we do, may we stay the course, and may we always remember Josephine Moshobane, Aluta Continua. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ulwasa Chairperson, for those powerful words. We move on to a woman's worth, Echoes of Josephine. This is going to be rendered by Reverend Dr. Nwako Rapakwana, Director for Gender Desk Unit at the university.
Thank you, Program Director, for this opportunity. Greetings to our Honorable Premier, Dr. Ramathuba, the Speaker of the Legislature, Makoma Makurupecha, our Vice Chancellor and Principal, Prof. Mokhalong, DVCs, they are with us, both of them this morning. Dean of Students, Executive Deans present, academics, Directors of School, Directors of Divisions, HODs, colleagues, SRC President and student, and all invited guests, including Moshobane family. I'm saying afternoon. Yes, I'm going to be talking about women's worth, Echoes of Josephine Moshobane. Today we gather to celebrate and reflect upon the remarkable life of Josephine Sekhana Moshobane, a courageous student, a political activist whose legacy continues to resonate deeply within our hearts and minds. Josephine's journey embodied the essence of women's worth, as her life story is a vivid tapestry woven with threads of resilience, leadership,
intelligence, and the unyielding commitment of the pursuit of justice. As we commemorate her today, we pay homage not only to her memory, but also to the enduring power and significance of women in shaping a just and equitable society. In commemorating Josephine, we honor all women who have stood at the forefront of the struggle for a free and just society. These women, often unrecognized and unsung, have made immense sacrifices. Their worth measures not just in their achievement, but in their unyielding commitment to the cause of justice. Josephine's echoes remind us that the worth of a woman is intrinsic, is profound, and is indispensable. Josephine Moshobane's leadership during her years as a student and political activist was characterized by an unmatched passion and dedication to the student movement. She embodied the qualities of a visionary leader, courageous, strategic, and deeply empathetic. Her ability to inspire and mobilize her peers was a reflection of her belief in the collective power of students to effective transformative change. Josephine's leadership extended beyond the confines of university campuses. She recognized that the struggle for liberation requires solidarity and collaboration with broader movements. Her effort to bridge the student movement with other facets of the anti-apartheid struggle demonstrated the understanding of the interconnectedness of social justice efforts. Josephine's leadership was not just about directing actions. It was about building a unified front against oppression. Josephine's strong personality and conviction were the backbone of her activism. Her possessed an unwavering belief in the righteousness of her cause, a belief that propelled her forward even in the darkness of time. Her ability to remain resolute in the face of immense danger and suffering is a testament of the intrinsic worth of women who dare to challenge the status quo. Josephine's character was remarkable by a rare combination of intellect and empathy. She understood the structural dimension of oppression and was able to articulate her vision for a more just society with clarity and passion. Her empathy allowed her to connect with others, forging bonds for solidarity and mutual support that were crucial to the success of the student movement. One of the defining aspects of Josephine's activism was her uniquely intelligent approach to political strategy. She had an exceptional ability to analyze complex social political dynamics and formulate actions that will minimize impact. Her strategic thinking was evident in the way she planned and organized protests, ensuring that each action was not only stands against injustice, but also step forward for a meaningful change. Josephine's intelligence extended beyond academic prowess. She was a keen observer of human behavior and social trend, which enabled her to navigate the challenges of activism with agility and foresight. Her ability to adapt to the change and anticipate the moves of the apartheid regime was instrumental in sustaining the momentum of the student movement. Josephine Moshobane, unmatched passion and dedication to the student movement were the driving forces behind her activism. Her commitment to the cause of liberation was unwavering, fueled by deep love for a country and desire to see all inhabitants freed from chains of oppression. Her activism was not a mere duty, it was a calling, a profound expression of values and beliefs. Josephine's dedication was evident in her tireless effort to rally her peers and galvanize support for the movement. She was often in the forefront of protest, her voice raising above the crowd as she called for justice and equality. Her passion was contagious, inspiring many to join the struggle and stand up against forces of oppression. Josephine's life and activism are part of the broader context of women's invaluable contribution to the liberation and struggle. Women played a pivotal role in various capacities, from organizing protests and providing logistical support to engaging in armed resistance and advocating for human rights. Their efforts were often carried out in the face of tremendous adversity, and their sacrifices were crucial to the success of anti-apartheid movement. Despite their significant contribution, the narratives of many women in the liberation struggle have been marginalized or overlooked. Josephine's story served as a reminder of the importance of recognizing and honoring the role of women in shaping our history. Their worth is not just their action, but is the broader impact of their courage, resilience, and unwavering commitment to justice. As we reflect Josephine Moshobane's legacy, we are prompted to consider the contemporary challenges and opportunities facing women today. While significant progress has been made since the days of apartheid, women continue to face systematic inequalities, discrimination, and gender-based violence. The echoes of Josephine's struggle call upon us to address these issues with agency and resolve. It is imperative that we create an environment where women can thrive, free from fear and oppression. This entails advocating for policies that promote gender equality, supporting initiatives that empower women, and fostering a culture of respect and inclusivity. Josephine's legacy reminds us that the fight for justice is ongoing and requires our collective effort to build a society where every woman's worth is recognized and celebrated. Josephine Moshobane's story is a powerful reminder of the potential and worth of a young woman. Her activism as a student underscored the importance of nurturing and empowering the next generation of leaders. Educational institutions like TEFLUOP play a crucial role in fostering critical thinking, encouraging civic engagement, and instilling the values of justice and equality in their students. We must invest in the education and empowerment of young women, providing them with the tools and opportunities to lead and succeed. By doing so, we ensure that the legacy of women like Josephine Moshobane continue to inspire and drive a positive change. The worth of a woman is not only in their contribution, but in their ability to shape the future. As we honor Josephine Moshobane, let us reaffirm our commitment to the principle she championed. Let her life be a call to action to fight against injustice and inequality in all its forms. Let us strive to create a society where every woman's worth is recognized, is valued, and is celebrated. We can draw inspiration from Josephine's courage to challenge the status quo, advocate for human rights, and support the empowerment of women in every sphere of life. Her echoes remind us that Our action today have a power to change or to shape a more just and equitable tomorrow. In conclusion, the life and the legacy of Josephine Moshobane are a testament to the indomitable spirit of women and the profound impact they have on the course of history. Her worth is found in the unwavering commitment to justice. Her resilience is the face of unimaginable adversity and her ultimate sacrifice for the cause of liberation. As we honor Josephine's memory, we are reminded of the intrinsic worth of every woman who has fought and continue to fight for the more just and equitable world. Let us carry forward this legacy with determination and ensuring that the echoes of her life inspire and build us all. Hallelujah. Thank you all.
Amen and amen. Thank you so much, Reverend, for that powerful speech that you just gave us. The next item is the life of Josephine Moshobane. It will be flighted through a video clip, and immediately after that, we'll get a tribute from the UL Student Trust representative. So our first item is the video clip, followed by a speech from the UL Student Trust representative.
The University of Togo pays tribute to the enduring legacy of its alumni who have left an indelible mark on the institution. Recounting her years as a student, political activist, imprisoned and isolated.
Here are the top headlines making news at the University of Limpopo this week. You are watching Inside UL News. Naki Dumilendi Pela. Good day. The University of Limpopo pays tribute to the enduring legacy of its alumni who have left an indelible mark on the institution. Recounting her years as a student, political activist, Josephine Moshobane's life and times remain engrossed in the liberation of black students across the country, particularly in Teflu. Josephine is remembered as a kind and bright young girl who performed well at high school. In 1976, she went to boarding school at Masalanabo High in Ramujaji, in the then Northern Transvaal, now Limpopo province, and completed her matric in 1981. In 1982, enrolled for qualification in social sciences at the then University of the North, now University of Limpopo. The 1980s were turbulent years where students experienced police brutality and racial segregation instigated by the apartheid regime through the boundary education system. Students constantly studied under police surveillance, facing harsh harassment and punishment. The defiant Josephine was arrested for 3 months and allegedly without any privileges of visits from family or friends, while her friend was released after 2 weeks. This brought too much fear among her friends. Josephine Moshobane's ordeal is deeply disturbing, with reports suggesting that she endured excruciating and inhuman treatment. She was reportedly held captive in a cramped, dimly lit room, her hands and legs bound in chains, severely restricting her mobility. Allegations also point to severe physical abuse, as she was purportedly subjected to brutal beatings and granted only 1 hour of sleep per day, with access to sustenance limited to a single meal. Tragically, Josephine Moshobane's life was cut heartbreakingly short at the tender age of 24. She passed away at a Gauteng hospital shortly after her release from Heinesberg prison, leaving a stark reminder of the harrowing injustices she endured. Minister said in honoring Josephine, "We are compelled to reflect on the struggles waged by youth and students in South Africa."
Distinguished guests, faculty members, students, and all attendees, good morning. It is an honor and privilege to be here today to offer a message of support at this significant event. I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to the University of Limpopo for organizing this memorial lecture, which is not yet only pays tribute to a remarkable figure, but also provides an opportunity for reflection, learning, and inspiration. Well, Josephine Moshobane was a trailblazer, a leader, and an advocate for justice and equality. Her contribution to the struggle for freedom have left an unforgettable mark on our society. It is fitting that we gather here today not only to remember her, but also to continue her legacy through dialogue, education, and collective action. In the world where inequalities and challenges still persist, Josephine's life reminds us all the power of courage, vision, and resilience. Her dedication to advocating human rights, advocating for the oppressed, and uplifting communities remains relevant today, perhaps more than ever. This memorial lecture is not just an opportunity to reflect on the past. It is a call to action for all of us. We must carry forward her works by championing the cause she held, promoting access to education, supporting the empowerment of marginalized communities, and to ensuring that the rights of all individuals are respected and upheld. Our discussions today and the ideas shared must translate into meaningful efforts that build a better society. The University of Limpopo, by hosting this memorial lecture, reaffirms its role as a beacon of knowledge, social consciousness, and progress. Through events like this, we honor those who paved the way for us, while also equipping future generations with the tool and inspiration needed to continue the struggle for a fair and more inclusive world. Colleagues, let us remember that honoring the legacy of Josephine is not just about celebrating her life, but also committing ourselves to the ideals she stood for. May this memorial reflect, inspire us to push forward, to break down barriers, and to create lasting change in our communities. Thank you, and may we all leave this gathering with renowned purpose and determination.
May I take this opportunity in appreciating and acknowledging the presence of our Honorable, His Excellency, the Premier of Limpopo, Umama Upopi Ramatuba, the Vice Chancellor, and the members of this prestige institution. As we gather here in celebration and recognizing one of our young fighters, Josephine Moshobane, affectionately known as Jos, stands out as a beacon of courage and determination in the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa. She was a student at Tafelberg University when she confronted the harsh realities of apartheid. That was in 1985. She was detained by apartheid authorities under Section 29 of Internal Security Act. That was a draconian law that subjected most of our young prolonged imprisonment without legal recourse or contact with their families, casting a pall over the nation. The question then rises, why was Jos singled out? The answer lies in a pivotal trip to Gaborone in Botswana. During a university break, there she engaged with fellow activists from liberation movements and participating in training sessions on revolutionary ideologies and combat techniques to combat apartheid despite the risks of her personal security. Jos' resolute dedication to freedom came at a significant cost. She endured unimaginable suffering and sustained injuries during her solitary confinement, despite being hailed as a hero upon release. Her memory began to fade and she experienced rapid deterioration in health due to brain trauma. Tragically, she passed away from a brain hemorrhage in 1986, mere months after regaining her freedom. Today, colleagues, her legacy shines brightly, a tribute to the indomitable spirit of those who opposed oppression. As we pay homage to the memory of Josephine Moshobane, let us celebrate her bravery and commit in advancing the cause and the causes of justice, equality, and human rights. As we honor Josephine, memory today, let us also reflect on the broader impact of her sacrifice and those of countless others who fought alongside her. Their collective efforts have paved the way for significant strides in the quest for equality. Yet our journey is far from complete. In our contemporary society, we must remain vigilant against the insidious forms of discrimination and inequality that still persist. The legacy of revolutionary feminists like Josephine calls us to action. It urges to change and challenge the system injustices wherever they exist, to amplify marginalized voices and to foster environments where everyone can thrive regardless of gender, regardless of race or socio-economic status. This lecture, therefore, is not merely a tribute, but a call to reinvigorate our commitment to those principles. It is therefore a reminder that the fight for equality is ongoing, and that our efforts today should lay a foundation for a more just and equitable future. As we gather to honor the trailblazers who came before us, we must also look ahead with determination and a complete resolve. Change begins with each one of us, and through collective actions, we can dismantle oppression, all the structures, and create a society that values respect to every individual. Let us therefore harness the power of unity, power of education, the power of advocacy to drive meaningful progress. Let us therefore harness the power of unity, educating ourselves and others, raising awareness, and actively participating in social justice movements. We can continue to work for those who have paved the way and made strides towards a world where fairness and equality are not just ideal realities. In this spirit, therefore, let us commit to bring allies and activists in our daily lives, whether through small acts of kindness, standing up against discrimination,
the UL Student Trust representative. We do not have a name. Hopefully the person is here somewhere. All right. In the absence of the UL Student Trust representative, then we move on to the message of support by Professor Mahlomo Khalong, Vice Chancellor and Principal, University of Limpopo. Over to you, Prof.
Program Director, Honorable Premier, Honorable Makoma Makurubeja. I think we're fortunate as the institution to have the two most powerful women with us here today. My colleagues in executive management, our visitors and friends, the Josephine Moshobane family, and students present here this afternoon. Yes, it's already afternoon. All protocol observed. Good afternoon. We are following in the footsteps of our martyrs. We remember those who paid the ultimate price for our freedom. Premier, this is your first address on our campus as Premier of our beautiful province. Welcome you in your new role. But more than that, we recall fondly how you made it so personal in trying to assist this institution to succeed. You availed your hospitals for our health sciences students to do clinical work. You facilitated with your right networks and relationships for accreditation of our qualifications, especially our latest addition to our PQM, our medicine program. Let me take this special moment to congratulate you as the first woman premier to lead our province. Allow me also to commend you for the energy and agency you have injected into the province since you took over. It is fitting that you be the one to deliver this year's Josephine Moshobane Memorial Lecture, considering you and Josephine have one thing in common: activists. It is also vital for my family, first for sharing your daughter with our university and for walking the memorialization journey with us. We are committed to ensure that her memory is forever etched in our hearts. In the anniversary of the university and the 30th anniversary of our democratic dispensation, we recommit our institution to continue out loud so that our children and our children's children will always bear in mind that freedom was not free. And she said, it's a good thing that we always talk about Josephine and them, lest we forget, but other places, they talk so fondly of what they regard as their heroes. Some of us were made to study Hitler when we were at school. There were people like Josephine who, in the face of mortal danger, held on the words of martyrs like Patrice Lumumba. When Lumumba, the first Prime Minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo, was about to be assassinated in 1961, he wrote a letter to his dear wife. In the letter he said, "Neither brutal assault, nor cruel mistreatment, nor torture has ever led me to beg for mercy, for I prefer to die with my head held high, unshakable faith, and with the greatest confidence in the destiny of my country, rather than live in slavery."
Honorable Premier of Limpopo Province, Dr. Popira Matuba, Speaker of the Legislature, Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of Limpopo, and the Executive Management of the University, students, all distinguished guests, and our important guest today, the Moshobane family, good afternoon. I'm here to introduce our guest speaker as indicated in the program. Our guest speaker today is a distinguished medical professional and a political leader, holding an MBCHB from Sefako Makgato Health Science University, the then Medunsa, a master's degree in medical pharmacology from the University of Pretoria, and an advanced health management certificate from Manchester Business School in the United Kingdom. Our guest speaker has a rich history of service in progressive youth structures, notably serving in the Provincial Executive Committee of SASCO in Gauteng Province. Her activism is deeply rooted in the struggle for better working conditions and workplace transformation. She is the founder of the South African Medical Association Trade Union, a former president of the South African Medical Association, national chair for public service doctors, and has served on the Central Committee of COSATU in her capacity as president of SAMA. Our guest speaker is a committed member of the African National Congress. Premier Dr. Ramatuba currently serves as a member of the ANC Limpopo Provincial Executive Committee and is a deputy president of the South African Communist Party. She is also a former member of the Executive Council, meaning MEC, responsible for the Health Department in Limpopo. Please let us all be present and listen for the speech by the Honorable First Female Premier of Limpopo Province,
Thank you very much. We can take our seats. Thank you very much, Prof. Mutiba, the program director, Prof. Manula Letoko, there today, because I want to believe that this memorial lecture, while we are here, to be able to celebrate and remember and honor this life, the life of Comrade Josephine, we are also at the same time saying to you, the generation to come, never take for granted this liberation, this freedom that you are enjoying today. To the Moshobane and Tiro choristers, I'm saying the Macheroni, Abusheni, Tovela, Slochile, good morning, Huyemore. Program director, we gather here today, 38 years later, after the life of Comrade Josephine, who was affectionately known as Comrade Josh, was cut short in 1986 at a prime age of just 25. We're here at the Unkgopotso Abraham Tiro Hall for the third memorial lecture. We want to appreciate you, our Vice Chancellor, and the leadership of this university, including the Student Representative Council, for making sure that generations to come must never forget
the life of one of our own, the life of a comrade, the life of a compatriot, and the life of an activist and a revolutionary who left an indelible mark on our history. And as we honor her memory, we are also reminded of her unwavering dedication of the struggle for freedom, equality, and justice. Program Director Comrade Jos, alongside with her peers at this university, which was known TEFLOP at that time, was at the forefront of the revolutionary wave that swept through the North, taking on leadership roles during a time of great turmoil. These young revolutionaries, inspired by martyrs like Unkgopotse Abraham Tiro, who was assassinated by a parcel bomb in Botswana after delivering a historic address of a graduation ceremony in the early 1970s, continued to fight for the liberation of our people. Other martyrs such as George Shope, the son of ANC veteran Mark Shope from this province in the Greater Tzaneen municipality, who was Sendane from Denelton, who abandoned his study to undergo military training abroad and later died in a firefight with security police. These are also testaments to the critical role that TEFLOP University struggled. We know it was not just a fountain of knowledge, a vice chancellor. It was a crucible of revolutionary ideas. Many newly released political prisoners from Robben Island, such as Jerome Make, Alec Nchabeleng, Peter Mukaba, and Shakes Makado, found refuge here and continue to spread the gospel of revolution. This rich history, it's something we will always hold in high regard. And I agree with the SRC president. I equally expected the students in this university to have filled up all the chairs here, because getting such free information is very rare these days. And I also agree with you, Vice Chancellor, that perhaps now our Department of Basic Education should start to, but anyway, the relevant people are the ones I'm addressing here, the academics, to say, we don't want to learn about Jan van Riebeeck. We want to learn about Comrade Josephine Moshobane in our history books from as early as primary level. If we do that as a nation, then our generations to come will appreciate the freedom that me and you are enjoying today. The mere fact that some are still learning history from other parts of the world and not focusing on their own history, it's what really causes what we see as if it's apathy amongst the young generation. And I must also indicate, Vice Chancellor, that I don't think it's a coincidence that instead of April, the month that Comrade Josephine's life was cut short, you chose this month of August to honor her, because this is a month of dispossession. This is a month of getting rid of old chaff in preparation for rebirth in the subsequent month of September. This is the month where the wind, which is associated to it, often signifies a process of renewal and a process of re-energized. The month of August is a month where there are great expectations for change, because change, it's supposed to happen in August. If it doesn't happen, you see, when it comes to the trees, if those leaves don't fall during the month of August so that September we can start to see new leaves, the wind associated to August month will be able to make sure that those leaves falls, meaning they will forcefully fall. So this is a month representing women and their struggles. These are the gender which is responsible for change. If you don't want to change, women will make you to change by force. That is what you must know. Women, in their own nature, are fighters and are selfless. That is why I am proud to honor the life of Comrade Josephine Moshobane, who knew that for the system to change, she has to shake it. And like a wind, she sacrificed her life with this legislation. To say Comrade Josephine can not only be celebrated by the University of Limpopo, because her contribution was not for student exclusion only. Her contribution was to liberate the people of this country. Therefore, as a province, as a country, we must start celebrating her. Those hands are just defeating you, Honorable Speaker, because the whole is saying we must go ahead and honor her as government, as legislature, not leave it for the university alone. We must reach out to the broader society so that they begin to appreciate that her trip to Botswana, which we all know, we can speculate what could have happened in Botswana. Hence, she was singled out amongst the students, and hence she had to pay the price with her life. That is why you would hear some of us that our relationship with the Botswana people can never be underestimated, because they were there when we needed shoulder to cry on. They are not claiming, and this university can attest. Where was Nkhuputsitiro with the bomb? Why was Josephine targeted by the police? Because she was in Botswana. Why? Because Botswana was taking care of our own who were in exile. So Botswana people deserve our life, our love, Vice Chancellor, and support. As we continue to reflect during this Women's Month, we do so under the theme Aluta Continua, advancing the ideological baton of the revolutionary feminist, close quote. We must ask ourselves tough and real questions. Are we doing enough to educate and empower the youth, especially our young girl child, to carry the torch of the struggle forward? Are we leaving them to navigate this path on their own? Today, as we remember Comrade Jos, a revolutionary feminist, a great human being, and a fierce advocate for gender equality and women's rights, we must remember how she challenged the status quo with an unyielding spirit of a deep understanding of struggles of women in our country. Her commitment to empowering women and advancing their rights has paved the way for many women. Ideological baton of the revolutionary feminist. It's very critical even in today's world, where women continue to face discrimination, women continue to face violence, and women continue to face systematic inequality. We must continue to fight for policies and laws that protect and promote gender equality. Hold those in power accountable, especially us fellow women. You can see that Vice Chancellor is a man and is surrounded by this beautiful gender called women. But most of the time when you appoint Premier who's a woman, she always wants to be surrounded by men. When you appointed a female MEC, she wants an HOD who's a man. When you appoint a female minister, you want a Director General who's a man. Why are we an enemy to ourselves? We expect men to work to empower us, but we don't want to empower each other. And if women can just throw away the me and the I factor and start to work as a collective, I can tell you we don't need policies to change the country. Our numbers are more than the male counterparts. We can easily defeat them for any election that you want. Including even if they want to elect the chancellor of a university, if women can go in their numbers, men will see dust.
even if you want to elect your SRC, here I can tell you we've got more female students than male students. That SRC president who was sitting there was going to be a woman. But women, you don't go and support each other. You continue to allow men to use you to fight each other. We must stop being used by men to fight each other. Whenever a woman rises, I must see it as me rising. Whenever a woman grows, I must see myself in that particular woman. So women, it's up to you. I'm challenging you. Because honestly speaking, most of our male counterparts tried their best. But us as women, we do not want to appoint. You know, to an extent that an MEC will appoint a PA or a... will ask a question. But why? Hey, basadi ba na le ditshele. Hore re le wena o na le ditshele. Mara rena re kgona ho bereka le wena. Let's go as women and move away from this pull head down syndrome. Comrade Joss did not die for the pull head down syndrome. She died for us as women to continue to work and support each other. We still have a lot of work to do. I have seen program director recently a picture that was trending of a young woman who belongs to the ANC Youth League. Apparently they had a workshop and it was her turn to present. Whether they were having an RGC, I don't know exactly. But she was on the platform carrying a baby on her back and presenting. Because the playing field, it's not level. Because we are failing to provide a child care center for young women to be able to participate in the very same struggles that we want them to be. So that is why some of the areas that we see, even you, Prof. Mutiba, you are guilty in some of these areas that I did fought for in your faculty. Because a vice chancellor, you'll find that when students want to specialize in anesthesia, you must check. They look at whether you are at a childbearing age, and they will not preferably appoint you, because they would say we need to get more men or women probably who have reached menopause. We need to deal with that, because young women at the age of 25 got everything. If a man does not deliver, they will see dust. Women, we have got soft spot on them. So we are saying supporting women across various sectors is very equally crucial, and in making sure that the progress we have made becomes inclusive and sustainable. Women are bringing a lot of unique perspectives and strength to every field, from whether it's education, healthcare, to business and governance. So by providing women with equal opportunity, mentorship and resources, we can create a more equitable society where everyone thrives. During this Women's Month, let us affirm our commitment to dismantling barriers, challenging gender forms, and creating environment where women can excel and lead with confidence. Comrade Josephine was a visionary who understood that true progress could only be made when there is equality and justice for all. Her legacy continues to inspire us as we carry on the work she started. Program Director, as I conclude this memorial lecture, let us reflect on the indomitable spirit of Comrade Josephine Serrano Moshobane and the profound legacy that she has left us. And as political leaders, we carry the responsibility of ensuring that her vision for gender equality becomes a reality. We must take decisive steps to fast-track the inclusion of women in positions of influence across all sectors. By doing so, we not only honor her memory, but also inspire young girls to believe that they too can rise to leadership. We must understand that when I'm standing here as a female premier, it's not about me, it's about all the women who are out there. And I keep on saying, if I do not live up to the responsibility, it's going to be a challenge. One of the issues, Vice Chancellor, that you must remember is that a woman, it's usually measured more than a man. The standards that are made for a woman when she enters a position of leadership doubles those that men were given. I was addressing women on Saturday and say, even we ourselves women, as you are driving on the road and a woman make mistakes, you will hear all of us in the car, what do you expect? It's a woman. They don't even know how to drive, but they they want to drive. Whereas if you go to Prof. Mutiba and ask her in her forensic pathology, those bodies that she's supposed to do postmortem, people who died as a result of road accident, you hardly find a woman drive. So who is the worst driver between women and men? Because I'm telling you, when I was still in health, I was signing death certificates which the death were caused by male drivers. So never, even a single day, allow anyone to belittle a woman who's driving. Women, even insurance policy, they are cheaper for us because we are not reckless drivers. Men are reckless drivers. It's not me, it's scientific. Because insurance policy go to actual scientists before they quote what you must pay in terms of premiums. So I must never hear a woman being undermined for driving. Actually, we are the best drivers. So as women, we must never allow to be pulled down. And you must never support anyone who begins to compare women with other men. You know, I saw a Vice Chancellor, a Twitter, I'm sure Victor is on Twitter. There was a Twitter on Sunday trending of somebody who tweeted, but I suspect that is a man who's using a female picture. I went to look for it, it's now gone. Who then put a female provincial commissioner of Eastern Cape of police. She's a woman. And the provincial commissioner Mkwanazi of KZN, and say that is why this gender must belong at the kitchen. Because look at how crime is fought in KZN and how crime is fought in Eastern Cape. And I saw some people commenting, but we went on to try to condemn that particular tweet. As women, we must go all out when there is one of us who is being undermined for doing her job. You will find that she is there as a PC, but below her, like General Hadebe here, she's a female capable provincial commissioner, but she's got generals here who are her deputies who are men. So we must also dismantle that. I'm not saying I will not be appointing male generals, but level our playing field when you want us to deliver. And who says other provincial commissioners who are men are doing well in fighting crime? We were asking that question. And as I will be concluding, I will give you a story that I gave, and I asked the journalists who were in that event to remind me who was the public protector before Advocate Thuli Madonsela. I can even ask here some of the academics. I can go to Professor Madaje, he will scratch his face and start to Google to check who was there before Professor Thuli Madonsela ascended that position. You can't even remember all the men who came before her. She was not appointed in 1994. It was the men who were leading that office. Nobody knew that that office exists. When the Thuli Madonsela came, even kids at school knows that when teacher punish you, corporal punishment, them to public protector Thuli Madonsela, a woman who was given the first female public protect. So that's what we want to see. We want a situation wherein, as a woman, when you are given a position of responsibility, work in such a manner that, like Tuli, those who came after her are fellow women. Because the system would have been shaken and asked itself, after Popi Ramathuba, do we really need a man as a premier, or we want fellow women? May the fighting spirit of Comrade Josephine Moshobane rest in peace. Thank you.
All right. Wow. Thank you so much, Honorable Dr. Mepopi Ramathuba, for reminding University of Limpopo students and staff who we are, but also reminding us about the power and the strength that women have, and also reminding us the sacrifice that Josephine and others have gone through for our freedom. So as we go towards the closing of our program, I would like to ask Prof. Satsupe Maoto, another female, the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Humanities, to give us the vote of thanks.
I expected choir to sing something, it's just that it was unfortunate. They were not called. On behalf of the university community, led by our VC and principal, Professor Mokhalo, university community that also have DVCs, teaching and learning, research, innovation and partnership, executive deans, directors of school, heads of department, professors, senior lecturers, SRC, led by President Mr. Mamabolo, students, choir, we are all university community. On your behalf, I'm here just to say two little words to those who honored our invitation. The list is endless, and my apology in advance for those who I might miss their names. And I would like to start with the Honorable First Female Premier, Limpopo Provincial Government. Already we have seen the Khere program. It seems I'm the only one who saw the Khere. So you can see that I follow you. And we heard you very well, that you are not going to go wrong with what you promised us of honoring Moshobane. Moshobane's family, their brothers, sisters, cousins, I'm also bringing these two little words. Thank you. Thank you. We also have entourage for the premier. I'm not going to call them by name. Speaker Honorable Magoma Makurubeje, And we have President South African Construction Awards. Thank you for honoring our invitation. Professor Dr. Kin, you have your entourage. You will be blessed. I said already that if you accompany the king or the chief, accept the blessings. We thank you for honoring our invitation. We have the Director of Partnerships and Public Relations in Revealed Word University, Dr. Levi Mutebejane. Thank you. Director, South African Gallery of Legends, Mr. Alpheus Matlou. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. We also have Mr. Vusi, who is the executive member of University of Limpopo Alumni Convocation, Limpopo chapter. You are part of the university community. So I'm also here on your behalf, and we have Regional Coordinator, Arts and Culture Development, South African Gallery of Legends, also Mr. Tini van der Merwe. Thank you, sir, for being here also. By the way, we have competition finalists. Miss World finalist South Africa is among us. I'm going to request them to stand up because they are representing us very well, so that you see them, and would like also to thank them. They are 5 in number. Miss World. Thank you for honoring our invitation too. We highly appreciate that. To the women, we had our premier. There is something that we must not forget. We must lead and manage with respect and dignity. Those two things are very important, and we must throughout lead with respect and dignity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Mautu, for that vote of thanks. And on my own behalf, thank you so much for being an awesome audience. So we have an announcement for how we are going to move from the hall into our dining area, the university cafeteria for our guests, and the students should remain here. The marketing people will come and show you where you'll get your refreshments. So for now, we are going to allow our dignitaries to move out first. You remain seated. We allow our dignitaries to move out first to the cafeteria, and also our dignitaries here and the Moshobane family and everybody else. Then we go and have our refreshments in the university cafeteria. I thank you. Baringi.
The University of Limpopo pays tribute to the enduring legacy of its alumni who have left an indelible mark on the institution. Recounting her years as a student, political activist, being imprisoned and isolated, and losing her life in the aftermath of police brutality, Josephine Moshobane's life and times remain engrossed in the liberation of black students across the country, particularly in Teflu. Josephine is remembered as a kind and bright young girl who performed well at high school. In 1976, she went to boarding school at Masalanabo High in Ramujaji in the then Northern Transvaal, now Limpopo province, and completed her matric in 1981. In 1982, enrolled for qualification in social sciences at the then University of the North, now University of Limpopo. The 1980s were turbulent years where students experienced police brutality and racial segregation instigated by the apartheid regime through the boundary education system. Students constantly studied under police surveillance, facing harsh harassment and punishment. The defiant Josephine was arrested for 3 months and allegedly without any privileges of visits from family or friends, while her friend was released after 2 weeks. This brought too much fear among her friends. Josephine Moshobane's ordeal is deeply disturbing, with reports suggesting that she endured excruciating and inhuman treatment. She was reportedly held captive in a cramped, dimly lit room, her hands and legs bound in chains, severely restricting her mobility. Allegations also point to severe physical abuse, as she was purportedly subjected to brutal beatings and granted only 1 hour of sleep per day, with access to sustenance limited to a single meal. Tragically, Josephine Moshobane's life was cut heartbreakingly short at the tender age of 24. She passed away at a Gauteng hospital shortly after her release from Heinesberg prison, leaving a stark reminder of the harrowing injustices she endured. We are compelled to reflect on the struggles waged by youth and students in South Africa.